Okay, I think it's times professionally that I hate on Beast and Belle.
Finally, somebody understands. If you don't know, go watch that full video. She makes a lot of good points, but I have some other points that I'd like to make. Some points that are briefly, or not so briefly, explored in my book, which is a Descendants retelling called Substance. One thing that the creator didn't mention is we only ever see the upper crust of Auridon, We don't ever see the common people except for Ben's graduation. But even then, I'm pretty sure the people that were allowed to be in the crowd were probably you could tell that there was security everywhere, as lackluster as Auridon security is. And here's the thing about that always unsettled me about Auridon. I was always waiting for the big reveal that Auridon was the villain all along. Even as a kid when I was first watching Descendants and I was in that age category where they were targeting, ever since I first watched Descendants, I was waiting for the big reveal moment where it was revealed that Auridon had some horrible motives behind creating the Isle. Because if you think about it, what ethical form of government would create this? You know what I'm saying? Let's just forget the fact that for a moment they practiced necromancy, which indicates that they knew how to. Yes, let's just forget the fact that Fairy Godmother and possibly others were practicing necromancy. Let's forget that. Let's forget the fact that this has some really bad implications, that they may or may not have been sending all their poor people or just anyone in general who didn't necessarily fit into the Auridon standard to the Isle, and that's probably why we see a lot of things that are a little weird in Descendants 2, Mal being engaged to Ben, or Mal feeling all this pressure to be different. Because keep in mind, Mal was the only one who fully went all psycho change mode when it came to being in Auridon. And you would think if she felt that much pressure, she could just break up with Ben. That would have been very easy, cut and dry. But keep in mind, she's the only one of the VKs who are effectively in the government circle. She's the girlfriend of the prince or king, so she's probably seen some stuff. Okay, so we have forgotten the fact that they canonically practice necromancy. We have forgotten the fact that technically this could be a form of dictatorship. Let me ask you something really quick, and I want you all to really think about this really very closely. How come Wonderland is allowed to exist outside of the Isle? Ruled by the Queen of Hearts. And you know what? We actually see a glimpse of how she rules. It's basically North Korea, but ruled by women. So, canonically, they practice necromancy. They may or may not, allegedly, be locking up just people for being poor or not fitting into the Auridon mold. The only time we ever witness people outside of the royal 1% would be at public events where there's high security. They are so confident in their status that nothing is under lock and key, because if you watch the TV series, the cartoon, the Auridon Museum gets broken into multiple times and multiple magical artifacts are stolen. It is not a secret. And they are perfectly okay with essentially Disney's version of North Korea just vibing. I don't want to say that Auridon may or may not secretly be a slightly more sunnier version of Wonderland, but just something to think about.